Okay, so this experiment is called the elephant toothpaste experiment, and hopefully we'll find out why in a minute. So what you're going to need for this experiment is an empty plastic bottle, something to stir with. I'm choosing to use a spoon, because that's easy. Some water in a plastic cup, some dishwashing soap, food coloring, dry yeast, and hydrogen peroxide. I'm choosing to use 6% hydrogen peroxide, whereas what you usually find in the store is 3% concentration, because hopefully this should have a more noticeable reaction. And I'm also choosing to do my experiment in a little tub, just in case things get kind of messy. I want to minimize the mess. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take some of the hydrogen peroxide and pour it into our bottle. Hopefully we shouldn't need that much. Next, we're going to add a few drops of food coloring just so that we can get a colorful reaction. And you shouldn't need a whole lot, just add color to your liking. Okay, that was one drop, yeah, so that should be fine. Next, we are going to add 1 tablespoon of dish soap. And that's roughly equivalent to about half a spoonful. So. Okay, and we're just gonna add that into our bottle. In hindsight, this may not have been the best way to put it in there. Okay, it's in. Okay, next we are going to take a little bit of our dry yeast and add it to our cup with the water in it. So the stuff isn't volatile, so I'm just gonna take a pinch. Maybe 2 pinches. And then I'm going to stir. And I am using the same spoon because it doesn't really matter. We're going to stir for 30 seconds just to make sure that it's a nice even consistency with the dry yeast. And what's happening here is it's actually mixing together and you won't be able to see it. It's no longer dry yeast, it's wet yeast. And there's some bubbles because there's still dishwashing soap on the spoon, but that's okay. Okay, and next we are going to add our dry yeast water to our blue hydrogen peroxide, and hopefully we should see a reaction. Okay, and the spout is... Okay, and now we wait and see if something happens. Yay! So the reason we're calling this elephant toothpaste is because hopefully it looks like a toothpaste an elephant would use because it's bubbly. I don't know if you can see it from that side, but... Okay, so as you can see with the experiment, these foamy bubbles kind of came out of the bottle like toothpaste would come out of like a toothpaste tube. So yeah, that's why it's called elephant toothpaste. But now to the science behind it. So what we're watching happen here is when we added the hydrogen peroxide to the reaction, the hydrogen peroxide did something called decomposing. When it reacted with the yeast, it catalyzed a reaction that caused the H2O2 in the hydrogen peroxide, that's the chemical formula for hydrogen peroxide, to decompose into water and oxygen. And so the oxygen, O2, is naturally occurring in a gaseous state. So when it produced oxygen in its decomposition reaction, since we added the Dawn in, you can see the oxygen in the form of the foamy bubbles. So each of these foamy bubbles contains the oxygen that was produced when the hydrogen peroxide decomposed into water and oxygen.